But first, time to say hasta la vista to welfare in America. What Arnold wants to do that someone here says our president needs to do as well. Did we finally find the money fix for America? Coming up.
Hasta la vista, baby.
That's what the governor wants to say to California's welfare program. Why? Well, to help say goodbye to its $24 billion budget gap. And Eric, you say President Obama should take Arnold's lead on this one.
That boy, you tell Barack Obama, Arnold, good job. You know why, Brenda? Here's the situation. States can't print money. The federal government can print money, so they keep expanding spending and keep printing. States can't do that, so they have to cut spending, cut welfare spending. Obama should take a lesson from this, and that'd be a better way rather than continuing to print money, which is only going to cause inflation and higher prices down the road.
But, Toby, welfare is a pretty small part of the budget when you look at it.
Yeah. I mean, I think Eric's point is great in terms of actually coming to grips with reality. But unfortunately, the welfare numbers that come out of the federal side are relatively small versus, let's say, the $2 trillion, my Glenn Beck imitation, of something that is going, that we have no idea where the costs can go. Medicare, this welfare stuff is not big enough to
like
dent the budget.
It's like about 5% or so.
5%.
So, Regina, why should we get rid of it? Why should we get rid of it?
Oh, we should never get rid of it. No municipality, state, or federal government should ever think about balancing the budget on the back of welfare recipients, people who desperately need it. And the reason why is because the majority of people who are on welfare are children, and there are 77 million impoverished children in this nation who are relying upon food stamps to eat, Medicaid to fix their injuries or illnesses, and home heating assistance programs so they don't freeze to death. This is not something that we should cut out. And if we do, what will happen is if these parents who are poor parents cannot take care of their children, they're either going to forfeit them to the state or the state will have to come in and take them. Then these kids are placed in foster care. And then you're laying on court costs of social workers and the court system as well. So all you're doing is transferring costs by eliminating a welfare system.
And you actually speak from the voice of experience, right?
I do. I grew up, my four siblings and I grew up homeless on Long Island. We lived in and out of shelters and in the back of supermarkets and in homeless shelters and in foster homes and out of cars, and we had to steal food to eat and lived off of food stamps whenever we were able to get it. So I have a tremendous empathy for impoverished children.
Right.
Not necessarily the parents, but the children.
Okay, so Gary B., what do you say to that?
Well, look, it's tough to come back after Regina's story, and I feel for her. But the facts remain this. Since 1965, the government has spent almost $10 trillion on welfare, and yet poverty levels remain the same. So, you got to question, well, why are we spending all this money just to maintain the status quo? Clearly, something is not working. If we spent that much money, we should see some cause and effect. But usual in the government, it's all about the headline, and who cares if the plan is actually working?
Well, Pat, actually, the programs that we should be looking at are not necessarily welfare, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are bigger fish to fry. I mean, as you alluded to, that 5% number you gave actually is not just welfare. That's welfare and unemployment.
Yes.
So the welfare portion is even smaller. Welfare is maybe 1.25% of the federal budget. If you look towards, again, the big elephants in the room, Medicare and Social Security, something very simple, like, say, pushing the age you get Social Security back about 2 or 3 years and raising the payroll cap on Social Security by, about, say, 15%, you shave enormous amounts of the budget. The problem is that hurts everyone, and it makes us admit as a nation that we've made promises we cannot keep. And until we reach that point, the budget deficit problem will not be solved.
But you still say it's worth something, huh, Eric?
Well, what is, Brenda, don't get me wrong. I'm not in favor of cutting welfare checks to homeless and starving children. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying trim the fat. It's one way of doing it. There are plenty of other areas that we can cut wasteful spending. I mean, this isn't what I'm saying. I'm not saying cut welfare out. I'm saying use fiscal responsibility.
Gary B.?
Well, I mean, if we go down that path, we should cut whole departments of the government out. Why do we need a Department of Education, for crying out loud? But don't get me started on that. Eric is absolutely right.
All right, last word to Toby.
Well, the empathy is so difficult because in our effort to try to do well, unfortunately, many times government does worse. That's sort of the irony of government spending.
Okay, thanks, guys. Well, I don't know about you, but